Hi guys. Oh, I'm slightly embarrassed by this because uh, I have to redo the listening comparison test over again. I mean, there's a lot of factors that went on into this decision too. The main factor is though I was sorry. Um, I'd asked about the half speed 45 because to me I was like, there's got to be something off with either my system, my ears, something. And because I, everybody was saying how wonderful it sounded, and I just was like, I'm not hearing it. I mean, it's like the lows were being swallowed up, or not the lows, the highs were being swallowed up. The sometimes you couldn't, like the voices were too punchy. The guitar was too much of a like, the attack of the guitar was like, just kind of like wanting to make you throw your um, headphones because I was doing it on my headphones. And I was like, and so I was trying to explain this to my husband last night. So I hooked up the system so it would be through my speakers. And we're talking about it, and I put on the 45 half speed, and I put my favorite pressing on and tried, like, can you hear this? And he's like, yeah, but it still sounds slightly distorted in these areas. And because we're having this discussion about digital versus analog, I am unwilling to admit that I did actually hear it. And and I kind of forgot about it, and then I've started listening on my system again today. But I was running Bluetooth through my speakers since they're the Clips the fives, or Clips the fives, and I started hearing what definitely sounded like not good. And I'm thinking, I'm running Bluetooth, and the same kind of distortion, the same kind of thing that we're talking about on analog, should not be happening. And I'm like, it almost sounds like my subwoofer is not connected to the fives right now. Um, so I've turned everything off, and I must have been back there messing with the settings of my sub, and they were all off. So I set them all back to where I usually had them, made sure all the cables were connected, and then I was going to hook up my LP60 because I wanted to use it for the solid state preamp inside, because I'd been told, um, as a reply to a comment I made in this other person's video, um, that my tube preamp could be hindering the beauty of it. And I was like, okay, I mean, that makes sense because it's a modern pressing and it's rock. So I thought, okay, I've got a little $60 solid state preamp that had high reviews on Amazon coming. I have an EQ that was like $70 coming, and I have I found a direct to metal mastering copy of the same pressing of the target pressing, and I want to see if there's much difference because of the repetition of. Sorry, I can't speak today, and my nose is really stuffed up. Of those records, because it's supposed to have a little bit more detail just because of how it goes straight from the metal to the vinyl, basically. And it's like skipping a couple steps that is in the pressing process. So they're supposed to have more detail, slightly more detail, that kind of thing. So I want to see if that's any different. I just happened upon one early this morning when I was looking for the CDs for the 30th and for an original copy of the Blue album. Just because my last night me and my husband were talking about, so I was like, why don't I just get a CD of the 30th, because that'll be the closest I can come to comparing the same run, so I've got that coming, and the thing is, it just happens to be on the like really high definition CD coming from Japan. So I don't know that if I'm giving a fair comparison to my analog setup, but I could be. So yeah, I've got a lot of things in the works, and excuse me, and I still wanted to give you the comparison video, but I now realize that the last couple of days, my left channel RCA has been hanging halfway off my preamp. So I mean that that is why these things are being present. This is what was wrong for the last couple of days. This is what was wrong on my headphones yesterday. So my comparison is void. It's obsolete because I mean my system was not hooked up correctly. So this is like unforeseen, and yeah, you think I'd be able to tell right away, but I was kind of going through this whole thing. It was like, you know, I'm listening to this, expecting something, and I'm getting something else, and like the only other album that I was listening to, other than these Blue albums, for like the last couple of days, was a copy. It was my original copy of Meet the Beatles mono, because I was trying to figure out if I was interested in getting one of the newer pressings of the mono one, and I have a place where it gets stuck, so I ended up getting that. But yeah, so I mean, the mono record, I mean, since it's same on both channels, I didn't really pick up on it right away. But yeah, so something was up with my subwoofer. It just wasn't working correctly or wasn't plugged in right, or my settings were just off enough that it's not giving the full presence of what I'm used to. And and that left RCA cable hanging halfway off my preamp. I mean, and I mean, if you want to give me another day, I could put this out tomorrow, or give me till Monday maybe, so I can wait for like the preamp or the solid state preamp to see if it makes a difference to come. So I mean, I would like to know down in the comments if you would rather me just hurry up and get this video out to you as soon as I can, i.e. that I do my listening test over again tonight, because it's going to take me like 4 hours to do. And then write up something and put it out tomorrow, or wait till Monday so when I have the little solid state preamp, or even saying that I could run it through the LP60 and see how it does. I mean, it's not going to be as nice to my record and you know, as the Technics is, and the preamp and those things aren't technically that great, but I mean, I am getting like a little $60 preamp that in the reviews they're saying was really good, so I'm fingers crossed that it is. So yeah, it's just so much was happening with my system that I didn't even know about. But once I started picking up on it, I kind of just went through things like, okay, there must be something wrong with my sub, and then I was like, okay, you know, if there was something wrong with my sub, maybe I should retest an album to see if that makes any difference to what I was hearing. And then from there, I was getting back behind my system where like all my cables are for hooking up to the CD player, to the Technics, to my preamp, to everything, because I had unhooked things to like hook up the LP60, and I couldn't find the plug for it, and I couldn't get it to run, and I was panicking thinking that's not working, but I ended up finding the plug underneath my table for the turntable. But I figured out what was going on because I looked down and I just saw that the left, I keep repeating it, but yeah, it was just really that left channel was not plugged in all the way. So I mean, that was where all my problems existed. I mean, it's like is it turned on? Or is it turned on? Did you unplug it or plug it? You know, the simplest thing is to keep it simple, stupid. And I mean, like, when I actually tried to do like introduction to engineering at a community college, and when I was doing some other sort of like math stuff and kind of computer programming at a 4-year school, I was just, I was thinking, every time I do something like that, I was thinking like the IT joke about, is it plugged in? You know, and so yeah. But yeah, I am so sorry. I am really, really sorry because it's unforeseen and really stupid that is the case. So I'm gonna go because I filled 10 minutes up of just complaining about myself. So please, you know, come back tomorrow or hit the notification. Actually, I'm not even gonna say this. Don't worry about notifications or whatever. Just try to come back tomorrow if you have said in the comments here that you want me to put that video out tomorrow. Or you'd rather me wait to either Sunday or Monday because of waiting for the other stuff to come. And we'll see how that goes. And don't worry about the whole like and subscribe thing because obviously I've goofed horrendously here. And I will soon get this whole thing put together, and hopefully the listening test will be a hell of a lot better than what I was hearing. So bye guys.